Hello, welcome to BioGrades TV. If you're new here, please subscribe and turn on the notification so you don't miss our next video. How political parties started in Kenya. Present-day Kenya used to be known as the East African Protectorate, which was founded in 1895 by the British. From 1920, it became known as the Kenya colony. The Kikuyu people, which are the largest ethnic group in Kenya, dissatisfied with their exclusion from political representation, founded Kenya's first African political protest movement, the Young Kikuyu Association, in 1921. The association was led by Harry Thuku. When the colonial government banned the Young Kikuyu Association, it was replaced by the Kikuyu Central Association in 1924. In 1944, Thuku again founded the multi-tribal Kenya African Study Union, KASU, which in 1946 became the Kenya African Union, KAU. With time, KAU transformed into what became Kenya's biggest and strongest political force, the Kenyan African National Union, KANU. The Kenyan African National Union, KANU, was the ruling party at Kenya's independence in 1963 and continued to dominate Kenya's politics for the next 40 years. It was initially known as Kenya African Union (KAU) from its founding in 1946 to 1952. The Kenyan African Union was formed to articulate Kenyan grievances against the British colonial administration. The party was led by Jomo Kenyatta from 1947 until his incarceration for alleged movement in the Mau Mau uprising in 1953. His KAU party had been banned a year earlier in 1952. All other political parties were also banned by the colonial government. It would take another 8 years before the ban on national political movement was lifted in 1960. The Kenyan African Union was re-established by James Gichuru in 1960, and the name was changed to Kenya African National Union on the 14th of May 1960, after the party merged with Tom Mboya's Kenya Independence Movement. Kenyatta was released the following year in 1961 and soon afterwards assumed leadership of the party. During Kenyatta's long reign from 1963 to 1978, a one-party system was in motion, but unofficially, as a few opposition parties like the KPU continued to exist, but with no substantial threat to the ruling KANU. Earlier in 1960, the Kenyan African Democratic Union (KADU) was formed when several leading politicians refused to join Jomo Kenyatta's Kenyan African National Union (KANU). About 6 other political parties came together to form KADU, and their major aim was to challenge KANU for supremacy. In the parliamentary elections of February 1961, KANU won 19 of the 33 African seats, while KADU won 11. KADU again lost to KANU in the general elections of 1963, which saw Jomo Kenyatta emerging as president. In 1964, Tom Mboya, who was one of the leaders of KANU, was able to persuade the leaders of KADU to dissolve their party and join KANU, marking the end of KADU as a political party. In 1966, there was yet another breakaway from the ruling KANU party. In March 1966, a left-wing faction of KANU instigated a mass defection from the party and formed the Kenya People's Union (KPU). The KPU was led by Oginga Odinga. The governing KANU party employed many tactics to disrupt the KPU. Local employers and companies were arm-twisted and forced to dismiss any staff who supported the KPU. This resulted in the dismissal of over 35 civil servants, while some others were demoted. Additionally, passports of KPU members were seized by the government to prevent their international travel. After violent anti-government protest occurred, Oginga Odinga was placed under house arrest on the 29th of October 1969. Other KPU officials were also arrested. The next day, the KPU was banned. The government claimed that the KPU and all its branches were dangerous to the good government of the Republic of Kenya. This step made Kenya a de facto one-party state. In June 1982, with Arap Moi having succeeded Kenyatta as president in 1978, Kenya's National Assembly amended the constitution, making Kenya officially a one-party state. Things continued that way until December 1991, when the parliament amended the one-party section of the constitution. Several new political parties sprang up within a month after the constitutional change, and in December 1992, multi-party elections were held. Though opposition parties won about 45% of the parliamentary seats, the ruling KANU party still had the majority seats, and President Moi was re-elected for another 5-year term. He would be re-elected again in 1997, with KANU retaining the majority seats, but this time with a small margin. The year 2002 marked the end of KANU as Kenya's ruling party. Constitutionally barred from contesting in the December 2002 presidential elections, Moi picked Uhuru Kenyatta, the son of Kenya's first president, as his successor. But the National Rainbow Coalition (NARC) party, a coalition of opposition parties, dealt a fatal blow to the ruling KANU party. Moi's former vice president, Mwai Kibaki, the coalition's candidate, was elected president by a large majority. This brought KANU's 40-year dominance and Arap Moi's 24-year rule to a definite end. Kibaki also won a second term after emerging victorious in the December 2007 elections. A national alliance was founded as the National Alliance Party of Kenya (NAK) on the 3rd of July 2000. It later became the National Alliance (TNA). The party was part of the National Rainbow Coalition (NARC) alliance, which brought Kibaki to power. Massive defections of known figures from notable parties like KANU served to boost the credibility of TNA. Uhuru Kenyatta, who used to be a member of KANU, emerged as the presidential candidate of TNA for the 2013 general elections. When the elections were held, Uhuru was declared winner and became the 4th president of Kenya. In 2016, the party merged with about 10 other parties to form a new party called the Jubilee Party of Kenya, with President Uhuru Kenyatta as leader of the party. Uhuru was re-elected for a second term on the Jubilee Party's platform. The party also won the majority seats in the National Assembly, confirming its place as the ruling party of Kenya. What have we missed out of this history? Let's know in the comment section. Will it be ridiculous to subscribe to our channel? If no, please like this video, share, and subscribe to our channel.